Have you ever felt a deep sense of longing for something sacred, but found that the old stories or traditional paths don't quite speak to your heart anymore? Perhaps you feel caught in the middle. One part of you is modern, rational, living in a world of science and facts. But another part, a quieter, deeper part, still yearns for meaning, for mystery, for a connection to something larger than your everyday life. If you've ever felt this way, please know you are not alone. This is one of the great spiritual challenges of our time. And it's a journey that the psychologist Carl Jung understood with profound compassion. He saw so many people who felt this exact same ache, a kind of soul hunger in a world that had forgotten how to nourish the soul. Jung's perspective on God and religion is so often misunderstood. He wasn't a theologian trying to prove or disprove the existence of a deity out there. He was a doctor of the psyche, a doctor of the soul. His life's work was about what is real and true for us in here, inside our own incredible inner worlds. And what he discovered was that the experience of the sacred, the impulse towards what we might call God, is one of the most powerful and important forces in human life. To ignore it, he realized, is to leave a vast part of ourselves unnourished and unheard. So what does this mean for you, on your own path, trying to make sense of your life? First, it means giving yourself permission to honor your own experiences. Our modern culture often tells us that only things we can measure and prove are real. But Jung invites us to consider a different kind of reality, psychological reality. Think about it. Is love real? Is a moment of pure, unexplainable joy real? Is the sorrow of loss real? Of course they are. They're real because we experience them, and they change us profoundly. In the same way, Jung suggested that the idea of God, or the divine, is a psychological reality of immense power. Whether you see it as a force outside of you or as a deep potential within you, the experience of it is undeniably real. That feeling of awe when you look up at a star-filled sky. That sense of peace that descends in a quiet forest. That moment of connection when a piece of music seems to speak directly to your soul. These aren't just random emotions. Jung saw them as moments of contact with the deepest, wisest part of ourselves, a core of our being he called the self. He believed that our psyche, our inner world, naturally produces these experiences because it's trying to guide us toward wholeness, toward becoming more fully ourselves. Your longing for meaning isn't a flaw, it's a compass. It's your soul calling you home. But how does the soul speak to us? If it doesn't use spreadsheets or logical arguments, what is its language? Jung's answer was beautifully simple. It speaks in symbols. This is the second key to understanding his view. When he talked about religious symbols, a cross, a lotus flower, a sacred tree, a mandala, he wasn't just talking about history or art. He saw them as living bridges. Bridges between our small, conscious, everyday mind, the part that worries about bills and to-do lists, and the vast, mysterious, and wise unconscious. A symbol, in this sense, isn't just a sign that stands for something else. A stop sign simply means stop. But a true symbol points toward a mystery that can never fully be explained in words. It's an image that is saturated with meaning and feeling. Think of a dream you've had that stayed with you all day. The image of a winding staircase or a vast ocean or a hidden key. You know it means something important, even if you can't quite put your finger on what it is. That is the language of your soul. And for thousands of years, the world's religions have been like great treasure chests filled with the most powerful symbols humanity has ever known. They are images and stories that have helped people connect to that deeper meaning for millennia. Jung's insight was that you don't have to accept a whole dogma to feel the power of its symbols. You can find your own relationship with them. You can discover which images, stories, and ideas resonate with the deepest part of you. Maybe for you, the sacred symbol is the intricate pattern of a snowflake, or the image of a mighty oak tree with roots deep in the earth and branches reaching for the sky. Your psyche will show you what it needs. The key is simply to pay attention. This leads us to the heart of it all, the personal experience. When the great interviewer John Freeman asked a very old Carl Jung if he believed in God, Jung gave an answer that has echoed ever since. He said, "I don't need to believe, I know." This wasn't arrogance. It was the statement of a man who had spent a lifetime listening to the soul. He wasn't talking about knowing in an intellectual, provable sense. He was talking about the undeniable reality of his own inner experience. He had encountered the power of the psyche. He had felt that sense of awe and wonder that he called the numinous. The numinous is that goosebumps moment. It's the feeling of being in the presence of something vast, mysterious, and utterly sacred. It can be frightening, and it can be blissful. It's the experience that stops you in your tracks and reminds you that you are part of a story so much bigger than your own personal worries. And this, Jung believed, is the essence of a true spiritual life. It isn't about following rules. It's about cultivating our ability to have these experiences. It's about finding the numinous in our own lives. You can find it in a church, a synagogue, or a mosque. But you can also find it in the unconditional love of a pet, in the creative flow of painting, in the courage it takes to forgive someone, or in the quiet stillness of your own breath. It's about making a space in your life for wonder. It's about recognizing that your inner world is not just a machine for thinking, but a sacred space, a place where God is not just a word or an idea, but a living, breathing experience waiting to be discovered. So the invitation from Jung is not to adopt a new belief, but to begin a new kind of listening, to listen to your dreams, to notice which symbols and images make your heart stir, to allow yourself to feel awe without needing to explain it away. Your spiritual path is uniquely yours. It's written in the language of your own soul. And every step you take on that inner journey, every moment you honor that deep longing for meaning, you are coming closer to the wholeness that is your birthright. What is a symbol, a place, or an experience that has brought you a sense of connection or peace? I would be so honored to read about it in the comments below. It's in sharing these stories that we remind each other that we are not alone. Thank you for sharing this quiet moment of reflection with me. May you find the sacred in the simple moments of your day. Until we meet again.